So let's start with Supernatural. I think we can start with that. It's I know I don't want to say too much about this show, but just wanted to kind of give like a personal opinion that I haven't seen from other people, but just a few, like mostly someone who has newly watched the show and then criticized it and kind of looked at it very objectively, not like a fan, but mostly in like a YouTube critic or video essay kind of way. I saw a very famous YouTuber make a video on Supernatural. I can't remember. I think his name was Alex Myers. I don't know, but I'm going to look at it and I'm going to put it on the screen so that I'm not making any mistake. He made some very good points, but he watched like a few seasons of this show. Like I said, this show has 15 seasons. So where I'm coming from is a place of love and a place of mild disappointment, but honest, constructive criticism. I'm not here to hate on the show. I'm not here to shade the actors. I'm not here to shade on the writing. I'm not here to be a bit about it. I just want to be very, very objectively open about this. I come from like a place of love because I've been a fan of the show. I've not like recently binged it and like now I'm just kind of like, oh, this show is so bad, show sucks. That's not where it is. I've seen the show ever since it kind of aired, like 2 years after it aired. So I come from a place of love. So I'm talking about this as a fan, but also as a fan, why I could not continue with like the final couple of seasons with the show. Now I can go back and like, rewatch it. I can start from where I left off. But here's a few things that kind of stops me, even as a fan, to kind of go and watch some of the seasons. Here's why. I come from India. If you're not new, you know this. If you're new, I'm not from America. So in India, it was kind of like Supernatural was not released immediately, but kind of like after a year or two, a few cable networks or maybe television networks brought the show to us and kind of made it kind of like a Netflix kind of, not a Netflix kind of thing, but kind of like a daily kind of a thing. So if people from the United States watched it season by season, like per week, they watched one episode, we got it like in like a bingeable session, like seasons 1 to seasons 3 maybe or 2, we got an episode a day, kind of like episode every night. That was the kind of thing. So it was very bingeable kind of a show. And because the TV networks did that, India kind of became the show was able to capture a lot of Indian fans, a lot of Indian fangirls, you can say, or fanboys too. I'm not just kind of saying, but fan people. It sounds so lame saying that. But yeah, we wouldn't have been able to, be a Supernatural fan if the Indian networks didn't bring it to us, because Netflix and all that was not that big of a thing. And I don't think Netflix streams this show. I have to check. But that's how we became fans. And I really liked it. I really, really liked it. My problems started with like after like season, I would say 7. My problems really started from like this season, because one of the biggest reasons where the show started to lose me is that I was really upset that they did not go forward with the evil Sam arc. Now here's why. We have had this problem within Supernatural where characters die, characters come back, characters are evil for like a few episodes for the beginning of one season, and they become good because they find out that they still love their brother. They rediscover their humanity again. All this stuff keeps happening in the show, which is like whatever, who cares? But when this didn't start like right at the beginning, but right from like season 3 or 4, you could sense that, once Dean was resurrected from the dead, it's like that thing that, I don't know, I think Kingsman said it, or maybe Mark Kermode said it, that once you bring a character back to life, he's indestructible. He's invincible. It's kind of like it, you don't feel, it's basically saying that you don't feel their death, and you don't feel the impact of their death as powerfully again. So when that happened, I was like, okay, whatever, this is a supernatural show. It's in the title itself, duh, so why not? But they went with this angle where Sam, the heart of the show, the good guy, the one that the goody two shoes, started going towards the dark side. It was kind of a whole Anakin Skywalker thing going on. Then they actually really played with the whole thing. With season 6, they tried the soulless Sam angle. I really liked this change. I really liked it because for the first time after like the whole season 5 thing happened, they really kind of went all in with season 5 because apparently it was supposed to end in season 5. In season 6, I was like, can they top it off? But they really could because they actually built this tension for us that the good guy of this scenario is starting to become bad, not only becoming bad, but has somewhere lost his humanity. And the actor, Jared Padalecki, did a really good job as the villain. Did a really good job as this kind of soulless monster, and almost psychopathic in a sense. It was a really refreshing thing to see that, because it also kind of gave you this idea that these actors, they're not one-trick ponies. Jared Padalecki is not a one-trick pony. And Jensen Ackles, too, has done negative roles in movies. I think it was in My Bloody Valentine. He played a spoiler alert, killer. Sorry about that. But it's an old movie. I'm sorry. So he didn't do a bad job there. And Jared Padalecki did a good job there too. It was also the show kind of finally gave you this like, okay, we went all in season 5. Now in season 6, we're kind of changing the game. We're kind of mixing things up a little bit. Now we're going to have a battle between good and evil. At the same time, they are brothers. So how is that going to happen? That would have really been very interesting if these two brothers were now against each other, which was really where they were going for, because that would have caused so much drama, because Dean would have had to go against every instinct of his being to stop this soulless monster who doesn't care about harming anyone, who doesn't care about causing death and killing. And like I said, the actor did a really good job. The writing was really good about that. And at the same time, fight his own brother in the process. The brother that he fought tooth and nail to save in the previous season couldn't. Now he has to be the one to kill this guy, quote unquote, kill a monster. That's amazing. That would have been great. That would have been fantastic. And then what did they do? They abandoned it right in like, I don't even know how many episodes. I will say within the first half of that season, they abandoned that. They did the same thing in season 6 end, where they kind of put the other actor of the show, which was, I think his name is Misha Collins, Castiel. Castiel also had this like evil angle. I think they were like trying to bring it back with like the supporting cast, trying to make the supporting cast evil so the good guys will remain the good guys. So they did that, but that also didn't work because in season 7 they completely abandoned it. Now season 7... The Castiel in season 7 was like an extra, somewhere disappearing into the background. Like, he didn't even matter anymore. He was just a shell of a human being after what happened. We understand that, but it was just like, the impact wouldn't have been that much if Castiel was the villain, because Castiel, like, when it comes to the brothers, it's like the brothers against the rest of the world. It wouldn't have been as impactful for both the brothers to kill Castiel, even though Castiel is like their best friend, as it would have been if Dean had to kill Sam or Sam had to kill Dean. And, that would have been more impactful. That would have been a better source of tension. This is the writer in me talking about this. Also, Jared Padalecki has this kind of like creepy quality about him. I'm not saying the actor is creepy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying his act. Whenever he does these kinds of roles, like, I haven't seen too many of his works, but whenever he does something like this, even within Supernatural, there's almost this kind of like a creepy quality about him, like a psychopathic quality about him that hasn't been mined. The director hasn't mined that out of him yet. You know what I'm saying? A good example would be Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler always makes these like good guy movies. Always is like the friend of the group, the dad of the group, the playboy of the group. Always goes in the end, like even if he's stupid, even if he is silly, even if he's, egotistical, like in Longest Yard, he still goes up and does the right thing at the end of the day. So he's always like Mr. Goody Two Shoes. The Safdie brothers kind of realized that he has a very eerie, creepy quality about him, kind of like I don't know what to say, but he's almost like I don't know, but they found out that this guy would be great as like someone who would frustrate you, who would make you anxious. There's something about him. There's like optimistic, but at the same time, if you met him in real life, you would be creeped out. So they did that, and Adam Sandler was fantastic in Uncut Gems. If you see that performance, you'll be like, that's not Adam Sandler. That's whoever the that guy was. It was just so good. It was just so good. It was so un-Adam Sandler-like. It was just great to watch. I feel like the same thing is there with Jared Padalecki, but because of like season 6 and because of how like immediately they changed it, I just am like, ugh. Because season 6 Sam really gave me a different. They really gave the actor a different role to play. But because they changed it, it's like, now I think Jared Padalecki is Walker, because I've seen him as this Mr. Goody Two Shoes throughout like 10 years of a show. I'm kind of skeptical to go and walk into Walker. Sorry, but I'm a little skeptical to go and watch this show because Walker is supposed to be this gritty character, but I'm just afraid that I'm going to find this soppy, brooding, I don't know, just this character. I mean, like I said, I can forgive that the show had this like cyclical way of killing the brothers, bringing back the brothers, killing the brothers, bringing back, and like making one evil and the other one evil, and then they bounce back to good. But after a particular point, after like season 10, I kind of lost patience because, like I said, if they become indestructible. And I don't know who made this point. I think it was the film critic Mark Kermode, or maybe someone else. I think it was Mark Kermode who made this brilliant point, like, God forbid an American actor plays a bad guy, right? God forbid someone plays the evil guy, the main guy plays evil, right? Because like the whole perspective change, like that's the kind of mindset we feel. It's like that's how we perceive it. It's not. I'm not saying that's what the Supernatural crew and the writers were going for. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to us as an outsider, as a viewer, as a non-American, that's how it seems like. That's how it seems like to Mark Kermode, for at least. And I kind of agree with him, that he said that whenever they need someone to be a villain in a Hollywood movie, in like an American movie, they bring a British guy. It's always the British guy that has to be the villain. It's so funny because you see it so many times. You see it with Jude Law in Captain Marvel. You see it with Benedict Cumberbatch in Star Trek Into Darkness. You see it with Loki in Avengers, Tom Hiddleston. It was so funny because it's really true. And you see it many times. And it's never more apparent than in Supernatural with Crowley, Mark Sheppard as Crowley, and the other redhead woman who was like Scottish or something. I can't remember. I wasn't even paying attention at that point. It's kind of zoned out. Just couldn't care anymore. It's like that. But I'm just saying, if they gave Sam or even Dean, although it seems like Dean is more like the guy who would end up doing the right thing. I don't know why. It's just the way the show portrayed it. This is my fear. Like, I hope the actors don't suffer because of this, because of, 15 seasons of a show. I hope they don't get typecast, because there's a real fear of people getting typecast after that long. I mean, that happened with like Friends and like all the Ross, Rachel, Joey. I can't see them as anybody else. I can only see them as Ross and Joey. Now, with Jensen Ackles, I will see him as Dean for a very long time, so it's going to be hard for them to break out of that, because the fangirls, fanboys, fan people would be, I'm just going to stop saying fan people, they're going to keep seeing them as Dean and Sam, which is a good thing, but if you are really like someone trying to break out of that role, it's going to be hard. So I hope they can. What was my point? What was I trying to say? Anyways, I forgot my point. I'm gonna have to go look back and see it. But that's the thing. And Supernatural also has a supporting cast problem. I'm gonna touch on that. But before that, I just want to say this like tiny little gripe I have about the show. I don't know what happened after season 8. Whether it's just me being like noticing something that isn't there, but also, or if something really changed behind the scenes. But the cinematography really changed kind of in like a weird way, which is like an unsupernatural way from like season 8. By that I mean the distinguishing factor of Supernatural from the other CW shows is that Supernatural had this like dark, gritty, almost like an indie film quality about it. About the whole show. The cinematography was kind of like that. It's always just something like it's like you're like looking at a sewer. I'm not saying the show looks like a sewer, but it's kind of like it just gives you a feeling of grim dread, you know? It's kind of like watching the Raid Redemption, you know, like the Raid Redemption cinematography. It's like being in this like dirty old building with people trying to attack you from all sides. That was the kind of look that Supernatural had. From season 8, when Sam got this like family, like I don't know what it was, like a weird family thing going on with he had a kid and a dog and something, which was, I was like, fine, at least they're doing something different here. At least they're trying something out. And then they gave like them a bunker or something. The whole cinematography changed from like this gritty, dark thing to kind of like it started having like a soap opera feeling to it. I don't know whether it's the lighting or the editing or the pacing or the music or whatever it is. It had this kind of like a soap opera feeling to it, you know? I thought it was just me, but I kept noticing it. Like, it looks different. It feels different. The pacing is just slow and more off here. I don't know what it was, but it was just something that just kind of threw me off from season 8. But anyways, that was just not a big deal. But finally, what I wanted to say is Supernatural has this supporting cast problem. The show is carried by the brothers. The show is carried by Sam and Dean, which is fine, but for 10 seasons, it kind of gets a little boring, you know, like how much can they do? How much their shoulders are going to break by carrying the show for that long on their shoulders. So the supporting cast is good. This is my problem with Supernatural. The supporting cast is really good. The actors are doing a good job. The writing is good. Everything is good. But most of the time, they just exist for the brothers and then they just die. That's what happens. They exist for the brothers. Whenever the brothers want them, they give them a call and then they are ready for service. And sometimes they have their own personal thing going on. Like Castiel had a little thing going on about his previous life as the man who, you know, got possessed by Castiel, and he had a family and everything, but then he kind of gave it up because he was like a religious nut job or something. I can't remember. It's been that long. So he had something. I guess Bobby had some. I can't remember, but Crowley had a little bit of a thing, but not too much. But here's the thing. It's a very forgettable arc. So they exist for the brothers, and then they just die. And then they are replaced by new people, which is like, fine, you're going to do the Walking Dead thing, sure, but give some people room to breathe and give and ease up on the brothers and kind of give them like more people to work with, and instead of just like the new filler people of the week. It's just, I don't know. But my problem really started because this was something that I kind of could never forget happened, because it's just something that I was like, man, they missed a great opportunity here. That's what I was feeling. In season 3 or 4, I can't remember when it was, there was a character named Henderson that just showed up into the world, into the realm of Supernatural. He was a cop who was kind of researching these two bandits that would commit credit card fraud and everything, and would go for hop from like state to state, change their names, change their everything, you know. And who are they? They're definitely con artists or something. So he was looking at Sam and Dean, and that was a very good premise to a character. Like, he had a legit reason to these two dudes. So that was a good reason for him to exist. And then when he came and he commanded the episode, his presence was just very dominating and really good. So that means the actor was like, whoever the actor was, he was really good. And he just commanded the presence, and he was just a really good episode to watch because it was one of the most tense episodes I had ever seen. And my problem was, if only they didn't blow him up the very episode, at the very end of the episode, they didn't even allow him room to breathe. This character, possibly, if they gave him more material and kept him for like at least a season or two, on and off, like they do with Castiel, if they kept him or kept a character like him, you know, it would have been so much more entertaining instead of just like filler content of the week. So Henderson was one of like those rare characters that show up on the Supernatural universe that become very memorable, and you're like, why that character would have been one of the strongest supporting characters. Maybe it would have been like the 3-4 main characters along with Castiel, Sam, Dean, and maybe him. I'm saying too much, but that's what I'm saying. If I wrote a character like that, I wouldn't have like killed them off, you know? Like they did it with Daryl in Walking Dead. Daryl was supposed to like die or something, and then they kept it because the actor was really good and the character was very interesting, well written. So they kind of the character a little bit longer, and look at what happened. So yeah, when they killed off Henderson, I was like, it just turned me off immediately. So it's just like, whatever, man, I'm done with this show. Not right at Henderson, but that was like the beginning. But after season 7, 8, 9, I think it was like season 10, when they introduced Demon Dean after Dean died like the 700th time, I was like, is there a point? Because we watch shows for tension. We watch shows for drama, romance, for death, for love, for friendships, for all of these like elements. But if their friends are replaceable, they keep dying. If their death is, you know, impossible because they can resurrect themselves. If there's no drama because one or the other guy finds his humanity and, you know, never fights with the brother, and just accepts each other, loves their family, whatever, all that, in the end, if there's no romance because they will always leave their romantic partners behind for the brother and for the hunting life, what's left? What's left to watch? So, the show is ending now, and I guess, or it's ended, and now they've moved on to do different things. I really hope they do the best. I hope whoever wrote the show from the beginning to like season 6, 7, the writers, they are, you know, they do better things. I hope Eric Kripke continues to, you know, do The Boys, which is a fantastic show. And I hope, you know, people watch this show because it's good. But I won't say watch it till season 15, because if you don't have the time to, don't binge for so long. I mean, come on, Jesus Christ. So that's all I'm going to say. I really, like I said, I'm saying this from a place of love, not from a place of hate. The reason why it took me so long to make this video is because just there's a certain fraction of the fan base of the show. Not everyone. The majority of the fans are casual fans. They come and talk and they just kind of share their opinions and stuff. But there's like this tiny fraction, like I would say 10% of like this rabid fans that would like really harass you. They would like cyberbully you if you say anything mean about this show. There's like, critical thinking has gone out the window. Civil discourse does not exist. Your opinion cannot matter. How dare you criticize their favorite show? You're stupid for even putting, you know, you're even for putting one point out that goes against the norm. It's like, people really don't like those kinds of fans, and those fans are one of the reasons why it's like, you know, nobody wants to like talk about the show anymore. It's, you know, whatever. But it's like, this is one of the reasons why I waited till the end of the show to kind of give my thoughts on it, whatever. But anyways, on to the next topic.